For some, the Hutch-Kinahan feud seems like a game where lives lost are just points on a scoreboard. By this twisted view, the Kinahans are ahead 4-1. But this perspective not only reduces the death of Martin O'Rourke, an innocent man who was shot in broad daylight and had no ties to gangs, to just a statistic, it also overlooks the fear experienced by witnesses of the Regency Hotel shooting, where even a journalist had a gun pointed at him. In 2014, Gerard Hatchet Kavanagh, a member of the Kinahan crime gang, was murdered in Spain. The gang's leaders believed he was stealing from them. His brother Paul Kavanagh met a similar fate when he was shot in broad daylight in Drumcondra last March. In September of the previous year, Gary Hutch was also killed. He was shot dead at an apartment complex in Miraflores, Spain. Like his brother Paul, Gary was suspected of embezzling money from the Kinahan gang. What initially seemed like the isolated killing of a criminal figure in a foreign country turned out to be just the beginning of a series of violent events in Dublin. In February, a group of 6 men, some disguised as armed police officers, stormed a boxing weigh-in at the Regency Hotel in Drumcondra. Their target was Daniel Kinahan, who managed to escape. However, his associate, David Byrne, was not so lucky. He was shot and killed. Just 3 days later, Eddie Hutch was murdered at his home in Ballybough, which is only a short distance from the Regency Hotel. Eddie was the brother of Jerry the Monk Hutch, a notorious figure in Irish crime. The Kinahan Cartel, led by Christy Kinahan, also known as the Dapper Don, is recognized as one of the most powerful drug gangs in Ireland's history. Christy Kinahan, 57, heads this criminal empire. The Hutch family, on the other hand, is deeply entwined with serious crime in Ireland, primarily due to the activities of Jerry the Monk Hutch. He was a prime suspect in 2 of Ireland's most infamous armed robberies, a £1.7 million Securicor robbery in 1987 and a £3 million Brinks Depot robbery in 1995. Hutch has always denied his involvement in these crimes. He asserts that his settlement with the Criminal Assets Bureau was related to tax issues, not criminal activity. On the evening of April 25, 2016, at approximately 9:30 p.m., 2 gunmen entered the Sunset House, a pub located in Summerhill, Dublin. Within minutes, 34-year-old Michael Barr was fatally shot. A silver Audi A6 with a registration number 04C17738 quickly fled the scene. The car sped along Ballybough Road, past Croke Park on the left, turned onto Richmond Road, and then crossed over onto Walsh Road. The vehicle was later found burned out. It is believed that the occupants of the car switched to another silver-colored saloon car and traveled towards Home Farm Road. The immediate response from the Gardaí was to link the shooting to the ongoing Kinahan-Hutch feud. Michael Barr, the victim, was suspected by the authorities of being involved in the planning and logistics behind the Regency Hotel shooting, which resulted in the death of David Byrne, a member of the Kinahan gang. Barr had been under investigation, and just the previous week, Gardaí from Ballymun had conducted a raid on his residence. At the time of his death, Barr was scheduled to appear in court later that week for sentencing. He had admitted to charges of handling stolen goods at the Special Criminal Court. In July 2014, Barr had been arrested at the Finnstown Castle Hotel in Lucan and charged with being a member of the IRA. Despite the initial charge of IRA membership against Michael Barr being dropped, he was known to be a significant figure in the dissident Republican movement and had strong ties to the Hutch gang. His involvement in criminal activities and his connections made him a key player in the ongoing conflict between the Kinahan Cartel and the Hutch gang. The Kinahan Cartel, a powerful organized crime group, had made it clear that they were determined to exact revenge on everyone involved in the Regency Hotel shooting. This shooting, which targeted Daniel Kinahan but resulted in the death of his associate David Byrne, was a major event in the feud. The attack involved 6 gunmen, and with at least that many people involved in planning the assault, the cycle of violence seemed far from over. The murder of Michael Barr, a key figure in the logistics and planning of the Regency Hotel shooting, occurred just a month after another violent incident. On March 15, 2016, Noel Dugan, a close ally of Jerry Hutch and known by the nickname Mr. King Size, was gunned down in his driveway in Ratoath, Meath. Dugan was heavily involved in cigarette smuggling operations and had previously faced significant legal troubles. He had settled with the Criminal Assets Bureau, CAB, which had seized a prime Dublin city centre property as part payment for a €4 million debt. Dugan's murder was seen as part of the ongoing feud between the Kinahan and Hutch gangs. Although Dugan was a criminal figure, his murder was perceived as a strategic move by the Kinahans to provoke a response from Jerry Hutch, who was being targeted indirectly through his associates. Less than 2 weeks before Barr's murder, on April 4, 2016, Martin O'Rourke, a 24-year-old father of one, was shot on Sheriff Street in Dublin. O'Rourke had no known connections to the criminal underworld. His killing was widely believed to be a case of mistaken identity, with the gunman likely aiming at someone involved in the Regency Hotel shooting or another key figure in the ongoing gangland feud. O'Rourke's murder added to the growing list of casualties and underscored the escalating violence and its impact on innocent people caught in the crossfire. The continuing violence in Dublin, fueled by the intense and bitter feud between the Kinahan and Hutch gangs, highlights the dangerous and unpredictable nature of gang conflicts. The Kinahan cartel's determination to retaliate against those connected to the Regency Hotel shooting and their use of violence against associates and innocent individuals alike demonstrates the severe consequences of organized crime and the deepening crisis in Dublin's criminal landscape. Many observers have been puzzled by the Hutch gang's apparent lack of immediate retaliation following the recent spate of killings. Despite the gravity of the situation and the ongoing violence, there have been few visible signs that the Hutch gang is preparing to strike back. Law enforcement officials, however, are closely monitoring the situation and are bracing for a potential counterattack. Gardaí are concerned that the Hutch gang might be planning a significant and possibly violent response to the Kinahan cartel's actions. The fear is that the feud could intensify further, leading to another major assault targeting the Kinahans. According to Garda sources, Jerry Hutch is known for his strategic approach rather than impulsive reactions. It is believed that Hutch prefers to carefully plan his moves rather than retaliate immediately. This methodical approach means that while there may be a delay, the Hutch gang is likely preparing for a calculated and substantial response. Despite the current calm, the general sentiment among law enforcement is that Hutch will eventually retaliate. "There's no way he's letting all of this slide without doing something," one Garda source remarked. This statement underscores the belief that Hutch's strategic mindset will ultimately lead to an orchestrated response to the Kinahans' aggression. The ongoing feud between the Hutch and Kinahan gangs has already claimed numerous lives and caused considerable unrest, and the fear of further escalation is palpable. Both gangs have demonstrated their willingness to use extreme violence to achieve their goals, and the stakes are high. The police are keenly aware of the potential dangers posed by this strategy. An anticipated large-scale attack could further destabilize the area, increase violence, and put additional innocent lives at risk. Gardaí are not only concerned about the immediate aftermath of any retaliation, but also about the longer-term consequences, which could involve extended violence and retribution cycles. Meanwhile, the Kinahan cartel remains a powerful and dangerous entity known for its ruthlessness. The Kinahans' recent actions, including targeted attacks and intimidation, have only heightened tensions and underscored their intent to assert dominance over their rivals. This ongoing aggression fuels the uncertainty surrounding the feud and raises concerns about the potential for a larger conflict. In conclusion, while the Hutch gang's delayed response may be part of a strategic plan, the potential for further violence remains high. Law enforcement agencies are on high alert, striving to manage and mitigate the risks associated with this high-stakes gang conflict. As both gangs navigate their next moves, the consequences of their actions will continue to shape the security landscape and the lives of those caught in the crossfire. The hope is that through vigilant policing and strategic interventions, the cycle of violence can be interrupted and ultimately resolved.